There's something about this building that makes you not want to leave.
It is really something to be in the company of these great broadcasters.
This is a gathering of eagles.
WBT is a badge I wear on my chest or sleeve or wherever, and I'm proud to wear it.
All of my life when I've been in this business, I wanted to come here to the Mecca. This is the mountain.
WBT.
Today we're standing at 2632 Mecklenburg Avenue, just in front of the Charlotte Country Club entrance. Before us, the wide sweeping lawns of the country club, and out in the rear of this beautiful, stately, gracious old home is a small chicken house. At least many, many years ago, it was a chicken house. And at this very spot where I'm now standing on April 10th, 1922, WBT, the great colossus of the South, was born.
WBT had very simple beginnings. It started out as a hobby by three men who had been ham radio operators prior to World War I. Fred Laxton, Fred Bunker, and Earl Gluck combined forces to start an experimental wireless station in late 1920. Mr. Gluck recalls the effort on a past anniversary program.
I had come to Charlotte right after World War I, and having been a ham before the war, I was interested in getting a ham station on the air again, and met Mr. Laxton and another gentleman, Mr. Bunker, in a store downtown in Charlotte, where we were all interested in buying some materials to rebuild our ham station. At that time, Mr. Laxton told us of a new high-powered vacuum tube being built by General Electric, and he thought he might be able to get one of them. And if he could get it, he suggested we combine our efforts and build a radio telephone transmitter.
Thanks to his connections at General Electric, Mr. Laxton managed to get his hands on a very rare broadcasting tube. He installed it at station 4XD and ran some tests using his chicken coop as an antenna. In 1926, WBT was bought by C.C. Coddington, a Buick automotive distributor, and the station relocated to the Coddington Building on Trade and Graham Streets. In 1929, WBT was purchased by CBS and increased to 25,000 watts. The studios were moved to the Wilder Building on South Tryon Street.
Good morning. This is Grady Cole, and it's WBT Charlotte, North Carolina.
The 30s began the Grady Cole era, as the broadcast pioneer joined WBT as a full-time announcer.
WBT is owned and operated by the Jefferson Standard Broadcasting Company, a subsidiary of the Jefferson Standard Life Insurance Company.
WBT finally became a 50,000-watt station in 1933, and it also marked the arrival of Charles H. Crutchfield. It was the summer of 1933 when Crutchfield signed on as a WBT announcer for $20 a week. And he went on to start such programs as The Briar Hoppers, The Crazy Water Crystals Show, and The Carolina Hayride. In 1935, he organized the first ever broadcast of The Rebel Yell, which was used to chase Yankees away during the Civil War.
Now, boys, anytime you're ready, led by Mr. Alexander, we'll have the Rebel Yell broadcast on the radio for the first time in history.
Also in 1935, Crutchfield became program director of WBT. The following year, he took to air on the CBS radio network before President Roosevelt's Green Pastures speech made here in Charlotte.
The President was almost an hour late getting to Charlotte on account of a heavy rain, and here we were feeding the entire CBS network, and it looked like I was the one holding the bag. Why, I guess I ad-libbed for 55 minutes straight. No script, no president, no nothing, just 30,000 rain-soaked Democrats and one exhausted announcer.
It's time to go down to Arthur Smith's Corner Store.
In the 1940s, WBT featured the likes of the Johnson family, the Carter family, and Arthur Smith of the Cracker Jacks, among others.
Down at the corner store.
In 1945, the Jefferson Standard Life Insurance Company bought WBT from CBS, and the station's frequency moved from 1080 kilohertz to the modern-day 1110 kilohertz position. By decade's end, Fred Kirby, Clyde McLean, Doug Mays, and Jim Patterson had joined the station. The 50s saw names like Phil Agresta, Bob Bean, Gil Stamper, Charles Kuralt, Alan Newcomb, Lunas McCloughan, Lee Kirby, Bob Rayford, and Owen Spann graced the airwaves of WBT. In April of 1955, WBT moved from the Wilder Building to its present location at what is now called 1 Julian Price Place.
I really thought part of my job was to kind of be the spokesperson for Charlotte, North Carolina.
The 60s ushered in a new era of music and information on WBT, and a giant torch was passed in 1961 as Chapel Hill native Ty Boyd took over for the legendary morning man Grady Cole.
I loved being here just after Grady Cole and seeing the enormous impact he'd had on this market. And then getting to sit in that chair, certainly not replacing him, but getting to sit in that chair.
In 1963, Charles Crutchfield was named president of the Jefferson Pilot Broadcasting Company, a position he held until his retirement in 1977. The 70s brought about more change as WBT became a top 40 adult contemporary music-oriented station. H.A. Thompson, Bob Lacey, Don Russell, and Rockin' Ray Gooding were among the new arrivals. Jeff Pilot began airborne traffic reports. WBT's Sky Show, the Southeast premier July 4th event, was born in 1976 as the United States celebrated its centennial birthday. H.A. Thompson was the #1 midday personality in America at one point in 1977.
H.A. Thompson.
Roll back out in the alley, baby, and drink some more wine on BT the Raider. And listen country wine. 10:35, H.A. Thompson Showtime at your radio station, WBT.
And WBT was Billboard Magazine's Station of the Year in 1978. A year later, Henry Bogan arrived from Greensboro to host a nighttime telephone talk show called Hello, Henry.
Hello, WBT, you're on the air.
Hello, Henry.
Hi.
Hello, Henry.
Hi.
Hello, Henry.
Hey, Guy, how you doing?
I'm a first-time caller.
Hey, hold on. Don't go any further. Hold on. The Goose said hello, and by the way, that's the key of G. The Goose is the key of G.
Stereo 1110 WBT.
In the 80s, WBT welcomed the likes of Spike O'Dell, Pete Sullivan, Mike Collins, James K. Flynn, and David Appleford.
WBT sounds like Charlotte sports.
In 1988, WBT was named the first and only flagship station of the NBA Charlotte Hornets.
Hoppin, left side baseline to Reed. 6 on the shot clock. He'll fire. No good. Rebound, Doherty. But it's taken by Tripucka. Head fakes goes up. It's good!
There's your first basket. Scored by Charlotte Hornet. History's been made.
On September 22nd, 1989, Hurricane Hugo struck the Carolinas. It was a scary time for the Queen City, while at the same time a shining moment in WBT's history.
It's 12:05, and from the WBT Storm Center, I'm Scott Kilgore. Good morning. Hurricane Hugo is making landfall at this hour.
Even though the station lost a tower during the storm, WBT provided listeners with life-saving news and information via battery-powered radio.
Thank you, Scott. And we did have a little blurb there, a little power shake-up outage for just a moment, but we're back now. We have had a call, Scott. Several people are leaving their third shift jobs in and around the city. Are we telling people...
It took nearly a year to get the nighttime directional signal pattern operating again.
Get 'em up, chop 'em down, chop 'em down, get 'em up, chop 'em down, cut 'em up, chainsaw.
The 90s saw the debuts of John Hancock, Rush Limbaugh, Maura Quinn, John Robinson, Jerry Klein, Jerry V, Al Gardner, Danny Fontana, Dr. Laura, and Spires and Krantz. In 1994, WBT secured the broadcast rights to the NFL Carolina Panthers.
First down and 10 Panthers from the Jacksonville 17-yard line. Frank Reich back to pass. Pumps, fires. Christian open at the 10. Christian at the 5. Christian dives in the end zone. Touchdown, Panthers! Bob Christian. And mark it down at 3:40 on a Saturday afternoon at the Hall of Fame game. The Panthers with their first touchdown.
The following year, WBT acquired 99.3 FM, WBCK in Chester, South Carolina, which eventually became WBT FM.
A good manager is a man who knows how to find good people and turn them loose.
At a luncheon celebrating WBT's 75th anniversary in 1997, Charles Crutchfield became the first ever inductee into the WBT Hall of Fame. On January 1st, 2000, the entire WBT air staff assembled for a live broadcast from downtown Charlotte and welcomed WBT listeners into the new millennium. In the early days of this new century, WBT helped the nation mourn and stay informed in the aftermath of the 9/11 attacks and the ongoing war against terrorism.
On WBT Live, we just witnessed on CBS and ABC on television, another plane has now crashed into the World Trade Center. It would appear purposeful. Let's go back to live.
Today we have watched the tragedy of an outrageous act of barbaric terrorism carried out by fanatics.
None of us will ever forget this day, yet we go forward to defend freedom.
The new millennium saw the return of John Hancock to WBT, and Keith Larson joined the lineup from 9 to noon. On April 10th, 2002, WBT celebrated its 80th anniversary, highlighted by the naming of its main broadcast studio in honor of the legendary Thai boy. During a ceremony at Spirit Square in Charlotte, WBT inducted Grady Cole and Lunas McGlowan into the WBT Hall of Fame. WBT has been the station of record, covering all of the news that affects the residents of Charlotte and the surrounding areas. Listeners of WBT were first informed of the war in Iraq in March of 2003, and they enjoyed complete coverage of the Carolina Panthers' historic run to Super Bowl 48, February 1st, 2004. In August of 2005, listeners relied on wall-to-wall coverage of the devastation from Hurricane Katrina on WBT. And as WBT has done throughout the ages, they spearheaded an effort to raise money. In cooperation with the Carolina Panthers, WBT raised over $300,000 to help with relief efforts in the Gulf states. Great traditions begin with News Talk 1110 WBT. The Charlotte community has enjoyed WBT's Sky Show continuously since 1976. In 2003, WBT instituted its Hometown Hero program, recognizing weekly the unsung heroes in our community. In November of 2004, WBT brought outdoor ice skating to the Green Uptown with its Holiday on Ice. WBT has always been and continues to be the leader in providing great historical traditions. In 2006, WBT saw its first ownership change in more than 60 years when Jefferson Pilot merged with the Lincoln Financial Group. On April 1st, 2007, Charlotte mourned with the news of the death of two Charlotte police officers, Sean Clark and Jeff Shelton. WBT provided coverage in the days that followed this devastating event and opened its phone lines to Charlotte in an effort to help the city cope with the shock, share their grief, and show their support for our law enforcement officers who put their lives on the line every day to protect and serve our city. In February of 2008, Lincoln Financial Media sold WBT to its current owner, Greater Media Incorporated. On April 10th, WBT celebrates 90 years of broadcasting. WBT boasts a strong lineup of leading personalities. Bo Thompson and Stacy Sims anchor the mornings with Jim Zoki Sports. Keith Larson gets the talk started in the mid-morning and is followed by Rush Limbaugh. Vince Coakley drives us home, and John Hancock exhales with us every evening. The WBT award-winning news team includes John Stokes, Jim Barrow, Chris Miller, Mike Doyle, Mark Garrison, Diane Chase, Tom Miller, and Edward R. Murrow Award winner, Jeff Sawyer. Getting you through all of the traffic is Chuck Rhodes, Joe Larson, Boomer Von Cannon, and the rest of the Rhodes traffic team. We started April 10th, 1922. continued broadcasting through the 20th century into the new millennium, which brings us to today. 90 years of information, entertainment, and service to the Queen City and the East Coast. We're the Colossus of the South. We are News Talk 1110, WBT.